Thanks for staying with us here on CBS News. The Biden administration is in a standoff with Congressional Republicans over the southern border.
That's right. President Biden wants more money from Congress to address the record number of migrants trying to enter the country. But Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson wants a return to Trump-era policies. He and a group of more than 60 Republican lawmakers traveled to the border yesterday for a firsthand look at the situation. Johnson criticized the Biden administration when he sat down with CBS News senior foreign affairs correspondent and Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan.
The deputy chief of the U.S. Border Patrol, as he said, it is as if we're trying to administer an open fire hydrant. He said, I don't need more buckets. I need the flow to be turned off. And the way you do that is with policy changes. We're just asking the White House to apply common sense, and they seem to be completely uninterested in doing so.
CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez joins us now from Eagle Pass, Texas. Camilo, we heard there the House Speaker say we need specific policies changed. What are the specific holdups right now between Republicans and the Biden administration when it comes to this border safety issue?
Good afternoon, Errol and Lana from Eagle Pass, Texas. The Biden administration is asking Congress for billions of dollars to address the migration crisis here along the U.S.-Mexico border, where a record 300,000 migrants were processed in December alone. But congressional Republicans are saying that they will not grant the administration any additional funding here at the border unless that is connected to and supplemented by sweeping and hardline changes to the country's immigration laws. Republicans in Congress, Errol and Lana, are demanding drastic limits on asylum, as well as a new authority to allow the U.S. to turn back migrants back to Mexico without any asylum processing, which is currently a requirement under U.S. and international refugee law. So there's certainly a disconnect right now between the White House and many Republicans in Congress. The administration is still negotiating with the group of bipartisan Senate negotiators, and that is still ongoing. But after all, we are talking about changing U.S. immigration law, something that has not been done, as you all know, since the 1990s.
Yeah, and Camilo, you spoke to the director of the only migrant shelter in Eagle Pass about what she needs from these lawmakers. I want to play that for our viewers.
I would really like the Congress to think about the people. Is this really benefiting them? Are they really gonna get asylum? You know, so we know that not everybody's going to be granted for asylum, so what's the point of all the struggles that they have to pass through and all the suffering that this is causing?
Camilo, what did you take from that conversation with her, and what else are you hearing from volunteers and local officials?
It's such a critical question, Lana. Just like the broader American public, residents, volunteers, and border agents here in Eagle Pass, Texas, have very different views on this issue of immigration and border policy. But they all seem to agree, most importantly, that the status quo right now is not sustainable and that the crisis here is not good for the country, the federal government, local communities, and the migrants themselves. The humanitarian workers here, the shelter workers here, are saying that they need more help, they need more resources and money to assist migrants who are in need, especially families and children. The agents are saying that they also need more funding and resources to process and deport migrants who don't qualify for asylum, and that they need more consequences so they can impose penalties on those who are crossing the Rio Grande behind me illegally. And they all agree, again, that the situation here is not good for anyone. So there is some agreement here. But again, Congress has remained gridlocked on this issue for decades. And so it is unclear whether the people here will get the help that they need.
Yeah, Camilo, and you alluded to this, but outside of the congressional gridlock, you have the Biden administration in a one-on-one standoff with the state of Texas over a law allowing local and state officials to arrest and deport people suspected of crossing the border illegally. What's the latest on that detail?
That's right, Errol. The Justice Department has sued the state of Texas over a far-reaching immigration law that would essentially criminalize unauthorized immigration here along the border at the state level. It is already illegal to cross into the U.S. between ports of entry at the federal level on federal statutes, but now this law would allow local and state law enforcement to arrest, prosecute migrants on state criminal charges and to jail them as well. And it would also allow state judges to tell migrants to go back to Mexico if they are suspected of violating this provision. This is obviously a federal responsibility, regulating immigration, that is, and so this is why the Biden administration is arguing that this law would violate the Constitution. So right now, it is set to take effect in March, but these legal battles could essentially stop that before that actually happens.
Yeah, so many points of friction. Camilo Montoya-Galvez, thanks for that report
Camilo.
from Texas.